Peace, peace, peace. I am Phillip Roundtree, and you are tuned into the April 6th edition of Rhetorically Speaking. Let me turn that off right now as I get Facebook Live ready. Listen, man, we got a great show on tap for you. So salute to everybody who is watching on Facebook Live. Salute to those who are watching on YouTube Live. If you are watching on YouTube or Facebook or IG or somewhere, make sure you go to Quantify LLC on YouTube and subscribe. Again, I'm only like 99,723 people away from monetizing this amazing platform that we got going here for y'all. So today is a hashtag You Good Man Monday. So that means I have some dope brothers in the building to have some amazing conversation. This is one of the conversations that I've been looking forward to having all day because it hit my spirit. So when something hit my spirit, if you've never been to a hashtag You Good Man group, you know if something hit my spirit, I feel passionate about it. And so what that mean is I'm gonna go off. You know what I mean? I don't care who in front of me. It could be Zane, our resident Negro, professional dancer. It could be Chances Are who came back out of retirement to drop some quarantine bars for y'all, or it could be Angelo Doncic who was playing 2K as we led up to this episode. But no, we got a dope show in store for y'all. Again, don't forget to like, to share this to your peoples. Because again, this is just people who identify as men having real conversation. I don't pretend to be right, even though I am right, like 99.999% of the time. And so I see them, they shaking their head. They can't even see you because I ain't even got gallery view on. But now I got the gallery view on for y'all because I had to get my monologue off. So salute to y'all. Shout out to the people who reached out and was like, "Yo, what happened on Thursday?" Especially my mama. You know what I mean? Because it take a lot to get her not to watch uh, Gunsmoke or to watch any of those old Western films. So she took an hour out of her day and she was like, "Dad, what happened? You ain't even go on Thursday. You and Ashley." You know, we had some technical difficulties, which means the charger that I bought from Amazon about 26 days ago died for my laptop. So I couldn't we were unable to produce some content for y'all. So Ashley will be back with us on Thursday because we got some dope current event topics to talk about. But no, we're gonna get it started, man. Salute to the brothers. Y'all can turn your mic on now. You know, Alakazam, Alakazoo, and all that. Listen, this boy dropped a couple bars on social media, and now everything he talking in cadence and rhyming and what have you. No, so salute to y'all. We got Zane, our professional Negro dancer. He in the top left corner. If you're watching, we got Angelo. I, I mean, that and it would come from the ball, man. That sounded like a little bit of that sounded like a little bit of hateration. So now we got Zane in the building. We got Angelo in the building. Angelo Goodwin, who is a real estate investor, entrepreneur, doing this thing out here. And we got Cobbiner Frempong in the building. I just found out that Frempong is the American Smith. That's for Ghana. I, I I saw a sister shout out to Afia in her story, and it had her name. It was like Afia Frempong. I said, "Oh, my man, last name Frempong." Automatically thought y'all was related. Automatically. She, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. So we're gonna get it started, man. Like we do each and every hashtag You Good Man group session. We identify something that went well because it's the idea of when things are rocky in your life and things are going well. Listen, I had a hell of a day yesterday, right? So we need to lean into those positive things and those healthy things when things are difficult because that's what gives us strength to continue on. So we'll start with you, Chances. Hold on 1 second. All right, now go ahead.
Okay. Do I got to start over from the beginning?
Nah, because you ain't really say much anyway, so no, we should be good now.
Yo,
No.
Oh, he's shooting at me all crazy.
I had the volume down, brother. My bad. You know what I mean?
All right, so I was corresponding with a client who I had helped generate some content before, and he wanted to make some revisions to like a project. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. But we were talking about doing some work like in the future once we get kind of off of quarantine or whatever. So you know how like you send like a risky text message or whatever. I like shot my shot, and I was like, yo, do you think that we could arrange, because the client is like working with like a bigger corporation. So I told him, I was like, yeah, do you think I could send you the invoice now, and then we could start the payment process? And he was like, oh yeah, no problem, whatever. And so and again, it's a client who I've worked for in the past, and we've done business like that before. um it was kind of like almost like a risky text message, like you're not sure how the person is going to like receive that
Yeah.
information. Like they might be like, what? Nah, what? You do the work first. But we've done it in the past before, but I still felt kind of nervous. But it was just reassuring to know. Like I told him, I was like, yeah, you think we could do that? And he was like, oh yeah, send it over. I was like, ah, cool. You know what I mean? So that was like, that's good news for me, because those funds are definitely kind of relieve things a little bit, or relax things a little bit once those funds become available to me. So
Word, that's what's up.
yeah.
Yeah, congrats on that. I'm gonna say it early. Yeah.
Go ahead. You can go next, Angelo.
Oh, what's going well? That's
and real quick, while he thinking, right? This usually happens. Boy, grown men know we have this group every other week,
Mm-hmm.
and they show up and even still listen to somebody else talk. Then when they get to them, they be like, "Hey, you know what? I ain't really getting no."
But it's exactly what you said, though. It's like, because we always focus on the negative things,
Exactly.
right? I'm sure Angelo probably, Angelo, what went wrong this week?
Oh man, today
all right,
was
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Exactly,
You see how easy that
it's
was.
easy.
You know what I mean?
Easy.
So,
So I mean, again, you can't shortchange the fact that everybody in my household is still healthy and cool.
Yeah.
Nobody's sick. Nobody's suffering. So that's a blessing. I did actually. I had some business that was on hold due to the crash in the market, and a lot of the banks and things of that nature kind of getting nervous and not wanting to do business. But I found somebody. I found a lender that's willing to get some things done. It's going to take a lot longer. They're saying like the stuff is like 30 days out, but it looks like we probably will be able to get something done. So that's a positive too, because this whole situation is slowing up the real estate market like crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we really can't get things. We can't even work right now. Like they're giving out fines if you outside and all this stuff. So with that, it's like slowing up your checks, right? So
you non-essential? Your business is
not essential. This is not an essential situation. When you're doing like, I mean, I guess you can kind of try to frame it like that, but to be honest with you, they're not. Construction, typically they wanted construction to be done on the 27th, and that was the thing they were saying. Yeah, now there are certain projects that are approved, but this is like bigger stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like big jobs, but
like
rehab houses in North Philadelphia is not essential. You know what I'm saying? So you can chill on that for right now, but we'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sweating it too much. Like it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Cool. It's on you, Zane.
So my goal last week, I think we left with me relaxing at work, and how did that look? And I think I made some progress throughout the week. I really noticed it the last 2 days, where I wasn't intensely moving around and overwhelming myself with extra energy. And I think that's what it feels like. We was trying to figure out what that feels like. I think what it feels like when I'm on like 150. It's like right before I go on stage for a performance. It's like that kind of energy. And for y'all who play sports, it's like right before that kind of hype, right before you play a game. I think that's like my muscle memory whenever I'm doing anything. And so trying to like turn that down is like it's been I've been working on it for a while, because that's like performance, everything is that performance energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I'm managing to turn that down, and I felt it this week. I felt real relaxed, especially the last couple of days.
Word. That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
For me, I got a few things actually. I finished the book. I think it might be my first book of the year. I brought it up last week. James Baldwin, Nobody Knows My Name. Like it was a hard read. Like the first half, like I was legit like falling asleep at times. But then it got really interesting, and some of those points actually influence our conversation tonight, which is going to be
nice.
on the idea of interracial dating. So that went well. My daughter, she had a good weekend, some days with me, which is always a beautiful thing. I was expressive this weekend, right? I didn't it's something personal that happened. I kept it inside for a bit, right? But it was just like, because it's sometimes you got to process it so you can understand it for yourself. Then you don't know necessarily how it's going to be received, because it is something that is not necessarily, I don't want to say it's not kind, but sometimes your truth is not kind to somebody else, right? And it might influence somebody else. It might have them feeling some type of way. But I approached it, in my opinion, with grace and with just being open and honest and vulnerable. But that's caused me to do some research on the subject matter that we're talking about. Instead of just going off of pure emotion, because pure emotion would have left me in a place that it would have been unproductive. But I think because I went and did research, I expressed myself to a friend of mine, and then when I was ready to have the conversation, it didn't come out in a way that could be harmful or crazy in any type of way towards somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So that was something that went well. And the last thing was, I was able to get me some added gigabytes for this MacBook that's been tripping. So I got some gigabytes. Never buy an Apple product again in my life. But yeah, so that's where we. But that's where we at.
Hold on,
I got one more thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. For my accountability piece, check me out.
Word.
Y'all see that? Yeah.
Is that okay.
Yeah.
6 miles. So you said you was gonna run the 6. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's
So
what's
I
up.
got that 6 knocked out last Friday. A treacherous course. Treacherous. Too many damn hills. I ran the wrong course, but I got through it.
Nah, you ain't run the wrong course. You ran that's the right course that you needed, because you finished it, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
How many minutes per mile? Let me see that.
Wait, nah. This is not competition. This is not competition.
Don't do that.
No, it took me an hour 8 minutes. So it was,
that ain't bad at all.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do this 10. Well, we'll talk about
10
it
minutes.
at the end. So
10 minute mile.
Yeah. Go ahead. It's all you, Zane.
Oh, I was gonna say I got a like a mixtape from somebody with 13 love songs on there.
Word.
I was so happy about that shit.
Yo, that's random. What you said?
Like I was like, when's the last time anybody sent anybody a mixtape? It was, it was a playlist.
I was going. I didn't know if you had like a record player in your crib. I didn't know how.
No. I couldn't think of what to call it. It was a playlist.
So somebody sent it to you, or I don't understand. I'm confused. You said somebody sent it to you, or somebody like walked up to you and gave it to you?
No. It was a friend of mine who I hang out with.
Sent them a playlist.
Who I've talked to you guys about many times.
Yeah.
This brother sent me a playlist.
Word.
Oh, okay.
That's what's up.
Oh, okay. A playlist. So that's how they doing it now? I'm old school. I don't know. So you got a playlist.
I don't know. Look, I don't know. I'm talking to y'all young people. I'm trying to figure out what it was.
So you got a playlist.
So all right. So we got to delve into that a little more, man, because Zane is the single person of the bunch. So you got the playlist. So when you play song number 1, like, were you like, oh, like, were you taking a
What was song number 1?
Good question. Better question.
It's something about honesty and talk to me. Okay. I don't remember all the lyrics. It was something about honesty and talk to me.
Pull it up on your phone. Pull it up and read it all to us.
Oh Lord. I hope there ain't nobody watching.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hold on.
While he's doing that, Phil.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt, because we don't know how long that's gonna be. So the conversation tonight it stems off the hill, and I'll put the picture in the corner. You guys can't see it because you're on with me, but but our viewers. All right, wait, hold it.
Try to be honest with you every single word. Come on and talk to me. I will try my utmost to be rhythmical. Try to be. Come on and talk to me. I will try my utmost to be honest with you. Try to be honest with you every single word. Come on and talk to me. I will try my utmost to be rhythmical.
All right. I think we got the gist of it.
I have no idea what message that's.
I'm lost too. I don't know, but maybe. But
you got to hear the whole list. The whole list. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you the theme is all love songs.
The key is, but that's what's up though, man. Because I know we
that don't mean. Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that it meant what I think it meant, but I'm taking it like I want to take it.
and listen,
and that's exactly what he wants.
There you go.
That person wants you to do,
and that's okay, right? But make sure you had that communication, and make sure you're not out here continuing on thinking it's something. Make sure you get some clarity and
clarity.
But the thing is I'm you know me, I'm going to pull it all the way back. I'm just enjoying my fantasy. Part of what it is.
No, you know what? And I think that's you know what I mean? Enjoy that moment. Enjoy just what it feel like. You know what I mean? Because sometimes those moments be, far and few between sometimes.
Yeah.
So just
right.
enjoy that. Yeah, shout out to that brother. So as I was saying, we're gonna have a conversation, and those who are watching on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, Young Jeezy, Young Jizzle, the Snowman, is engaged to Jeannie Mai from the TV show The Real. She is the Asian young lady. But for y'all brothers, if you're not familiar with who they are, so Young Jeezy is a rapper, a trap rapper. Talked about he done sold all the cocaine in the world. I think he had it all, right? I'm surprised that it's any left, and so here he is, this rapper. Which is cool. No shade, whatever it is, what it is. Then you have Jeannie Mai, Asian woman. She's cute. You know what I mean? A cute young lady. And I saw it, and I was like, word? Like, I mean, I know they've been dating for a while. They came out officially in August. I know Jeezy's a man of a certain age. He probably in his late 30s now, might be early 40s.
He in his 40s, dog.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Might
they
be
both,
early.
They both about 41, 42, according to something I looked up.
So my first thing was, and again, it might be because I was watching James Baldwin. I'm like, damn, Jeezy, like you made your bones off the backs of the sisters, and now you gone. You done made it out of the hood, you done made it out the projects, you done moved on up like George and Wheezy, and here you are with Jeannie Mai. Now, first and foremost, let me say this. So, because I had to, those were my first initial feelings, right? I can't deny that they are what they are at that moment in time. When I step back, I recognize, you know what, and what I've always believed in, love is love. Right, it doesn't matter what your complexion, doesn't matter the race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status. Love is love. But a part of me felt, and maybe because I've been playing Umar Johnson videos for fun.
Talk to him.
I've been paying so. It's like I sit and I look. You got your son's mother, who you were with in the '90s, right, when you were selling coke, allegedly. Where you were trying to come up as a rapper, y'all parted ways, you got on, and then you had this hood love with Keisha Cole, right, in the 2000s. Y'all were a hood couple, and you dated around and did what have you. Now you've ditched the Snowman moniker, Right? You've ditched the snowman moniker when you was telling everybody else kids to go sell dope and what have you. You was putting your son through private school and paying for him to go to college. And now here you are on this other end. And it was just like, to me, that same thing we talk about basketball players, that we talk about our athletes, that we talk about our people who make it, that the trophy wife isn't necessarily the black woman.
Mm.
And so that's what a part of me was feeling like that frustration. It was just like, oh, you know, despite me acknowledging that love is love, and it could be happy and it could be beautiful. You want it to be a healthy relationship, which it appears to be like it is. But those were some of my initial feelings when it came to it. And so my question that I asked myself was, where are we as a community and as black men when it comes to this idea of inner inner quote unquote racial dating? I think for now we've been in a period of some years where this it's like this rein, reinvigorated black black power movement, right? With Black Lives Matter and what have you. It's like you turn on Instagram and social media, it's all about black love, it's all about black couples. And so I sit and I think, well, yes, I know we've progressed as a society, right? But has it become taboo within the black community in particular, or has ever left that idea of you don't date outside of your race? And so I figure I pose to you guys, right? Is it a return to this taboo idea that I thought we've moved away from, or is it something that's never left? And so I'm interested in hearing from you guys on social media too. You know what I mean? So feel free to drop your thoughts. Where are we as a community, as a society, when it comes to interracial dating?
I mean, personally, I would say that it never actually left. I think um, there are other things that were more important. So it's just more of like prioritizing, right? This brother chooses to love who he wants to love, or, whatever. Um, we have bigger issues that are kind of like priority right now. That's what I always feel. But I feel like if you get into those conversations with people, um, black women, black men, or whatever, like you'll hear the things of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he wound up or she wound up with I don't know. I don't feel like there's as much disdain for if a white woman, or if a sister winds up with like a white woman, I mean a white man, or even white woman, right? As it is for like when a brother like winds up with like a white man or a white woman. I feel like, I don't know, like there's some extra hate that's put on it or something like that, you know?
Yeah,
When you
yeah,
just said that, I thought about Kamala Harris and
Mm-hmm.
her white
That's a good.
husband, and how much reverberation, or for lack of a better word, she got from, folks
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
challenging her. I think that a
yeah.
lot of things happen when you are public and when you date interracially. And I think a lot of it, the words I wrote down were like loyalty, disloyal, you get this pressure. And I think the overwhelming feeling from the person that you're not dating is they're not good enough. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And then the overwhelming feeling from the community is a type of an expression of disloyalty. And neither of those things may be true, but the
Mm-hmm.
peer pressure comes from that point of view. You know what I mean? The peer pressure comes from, you're disloyal to the community, you don't support us, we're not good enough for you. You
Mm.
know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
I think. I'm sorry, Zane.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was going to say. I think it can be a little bit of both. It can be a little bit of a loyalty issue, but then also there is an idea out there where these guys or these women might feel that, like the white man's ice is colder type of thing, right? They want to be with that trophy white woman or whatever, it might be Asian woman or something like that. So that is also a thing that happens too. He could. I'm not saying Jeezy's feel this way, but sometimes he feel like, yeah, I'm gonna settle. I might run through some black women, but I'm gonna settle down with some woman of some other, you know, ethnicity or what have you. Again, could be totally off base with that with Jeezy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that is also
Yeah.
Do you think it's
an idea
conscious or
too.
subconscious?
And that's
Do I
it.
think do I think it's conscious of him or
Well, in general, do you think it's a
yeah,
conscious,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm a
Yes.
run through this, but I'm gonna settle with that? Do you think that's
Oh
conscious or
yeah. Oh
subconscious?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know guys that made comments like that consciously, like I don't date black women, like I'm
For
cool.
real?
Like they
Yeah.
got this, that, and the third. Like, and they're not my circle, they're not my homies, you know what I'm saying? But in my lifetime, I've heard people make those types of comments. Again, it's all putting to me. It's weird, it's strange. But yeah, that is a thing. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's the thing. They want Spanish girls. That's a lot. Like you'll
That's
see that a
that's
lot.
what
They
I
want Puerto
hear.
Rican
That's what I
Jones.
hear normally. It's
Yeah, yeah,
Spanish
yeah.
girl.
Well,
Yeah, which is so weird to me.
well, no, it actually is not. So
To
when
me,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
weird.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean,
Me.
no, I think it's weird, right?
Yeah.
I think it's weird in a sense where, and I'll work my way backwards. I think it's in a sense that, you know, for men of a certain age, like especially how influenced we were by the music video, in hip hop, I think that played a lot into how we wanted our women to be, right? Wavy with wavy light skin with wavy hair, right? We wanted the Gloria Velez's, and we wanted the lighter women because that's what we were seeing, right? And so subconsciously, that if that imagery is consistently pushed into your head, um it's like Pavlov's
You
dog.
don't
That
question it.
next thing you're gonna do, you're gonna be looking for it. I always talk about how there was a period of time where I was just infatuated with light skinned women. Right? It was just like they could do no wrong. They were super beautiful and what have you. But again, I was young. I was
Yeah.
what, 18, 19. And
Right.
that's what
That was your mix. That's
that
what
was
you
the
wanted.
imagery. So when I would get
Yeah.
the black men's magazines and what have you on the cover, even if they were a little darker in real life, they were always lightened up.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
We
Oh
look
yeah.
at it. We look around now, like we see a lot of the makeup that the women wear. It lightens their hue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I think that plays a part of it. And so with Jeezy, I don't necessarily know if it's conscious. I try to show grace and say, you know what, but it might just be a simple fact of the more money you get, the smaller your circles and who you're around is. So when I see people like Zion Williamson, the NBA player,
Yeah.
and I saw his high school girlfriend, I'm like, well, yeah, he played in wherever he played at South Carolina, but he went to a
Yeah.
school of all white people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that was his
Yeah.
environment, right? So
Right.
if that's his environment, not to say he couldn't step out of it or like Jeezy can't go to different places and he doesn't come across amazing black women. However, again, I don't know. I can't
Yeah.
speak to really what that is. I think for me it's a matter of we talk about the white supremacy aspect. We talk about the self hatred aspect. I think it's very real. It continues to exist. This idea if a black man gets a white woman or a white man or a white person, that they're somehow disloyal, as Zane said, right? Because you're like, yo, it's so, especially when it comes to black women in particular, it's so many of us out here. Right, you go to Atlanta and the ratio is 8-1, and so you start looking at them sideways. But when they're on that Love Is Blind, and you see the black girl with the white guy, it's just like, yo, it's the automatic idea that it's not enough good brothers out here, and so she had to go. When conversely, it's a lot of dope black sisters out here. Um, why would he go and find somebody else? So I think this subconsciously has been burned into our perspective. I think Zane wanted to go. Then you rock out with
No,
you.
well, I think a couple of things. I think one, full disclosure, I was in my longest relationship was with a French guy, and I met him when I was living in Europe. I was living in the south of France, and we were together for 8 years. We spent 4 years together over there, and then 40 years together in Montreal. And there was something different in my mind because he wasn't American. You know what I mean? There was like a past there or something. And although Europeans still have their same sort of racial hangups and stuff like that, but it felt different. I didn't feel the same energy. Unfortunately, when I date in America, I somehow there's a block. Not that I haven't been attracted or even been on dates with white Americans, It's something that is subconsciously or consciously very difficult for me to get over that hump, to get over the self-consciousness of it in America. I don't know whether I feel like I'm not going to be understood, or that I'm going to be judged, or that I just don't connect as easily. And not that, and my friendship circles are wide. So I just wanted to say that. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I think it's really difficult to get past to unlock the idea of self-hatred, and even just on a superficial level, how I think I look when I walk with this person because they represent this thing, right? So white people represent one thing in the world, right, which is the top of the pinnacle, right? And they represent power. So if you always, again, and this is the same comment I made back when we talked about guns, if you always searching for power and you don't have power in self, and you're finding something outside, subconsciously, that may be a representation of power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For some people.
So real quick, so Ben Arnold on the live said that imagery, the interracial couple is everywhere. And Ebony Johnson said that they seem genuinely happy, and I agree. They do seem genuinely happy, and you know it reminds me something that my daughter mother said. You know what I mean? And we cool, right? Like her and I, we on good terms. Saw her today. Shout out to her. Peace.
That was mad weird.
Where
that was
nah.
the weirdest.
Nah,
like,
because
shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Peace.
Nah, and so what she said was, you know, we were together for some years, almost a decade. And so she was like, yeah, whoever you get after me, right, they're going to be the ones that get the best parts of you, right? And I think that many black women feel that way, where it's just like you're like the test. Even though my stance is that you know we all trying to figure this shit out, and we gonna make some mistakes, and we gonna hurt some feelings, and it happens. It's a part of the game. But still, there's a segment of the population that feels that way. A lot of us feel that way. Like if we've been not used, but some of us been used, or if we've been mistreated, or we haven't been appreciated, or the love wasn't as reciprocal, or it might have been unrequited. That there's this idea of I'm being used and whoever gets you next. And so it might be that idea, maybe subconsciously in me, when I see that, I start thinking about the black woman that he's been with, right? And he was just like, was he just trying to figure out himself? And then when he figured himself out, it ended up to be with this Asian woman or a non-black woman.
Right.
I don't think it's that black and white, though.
No,
I
I
don't
don't
think
either.
it's that black and white. I think you move through situations, and so on a metaphysical level, right? You know, you come into these, you meet people because you have to learn something and you have something to grow. So that's the metaphysical level, right? That you always learn. And I don't think you making choices like that. I think you kind of get uh you know, it's serendipitous. Like you meet people, you cross them, you connect, you don't connect, you grow, you don't grow, you learn, and that thing happens. But on the other level, I think again I get stuck there because you know I don't know if we can actually separate this whole power structure from the decisions we make, you know. But love may be the thing that sort of you don't think about that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you fall in love, when you see somebody and you generally connect. I know that was how I felt. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't think about that shit till I came back to America.
That's a segue into what I was going to touch on. I think we tend to not be intentional with on that level with who we decide to date, right? So yeah, we obviously you get into the physical and then you know mental aspect of who the person is and things like that, and then you kind of get connected to them. Now there is an element of some other cultures where they're you know they have arranged marriages and things like that. That's super acutely focused on who you're going to be with, right? So it's no stepping out of bounds there because we already got it lined up for you. I don't think that's a part. Now we did have that thing like back in the day, right? It would be like it might even still go on where people be like, yeah, my mama, I could never bring a white woman home, right? Like my mom ain't playing that, or he better not bring a white chick home. So I mean, loosely, that is a thing in our culture, but I don't think we kind of, especially with the athletes, I don't think that, because it's they're products of their environment. So if I'm a blue chip athlete, I'm going to Duke. Who am I going to be around? I'm a man still, right? So if I see shorties, or let me be respectful, if I see beautiful women or whatever it may be, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna want to get with them. So it just happens to be that it's probably going to be white women at a Division I university. So, or when they go to these high schools, these special high schools and prep schools, they're around a lot of white women. So I don't think it's an intentional thing where they're like, you know what, I gotta be with a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of I don't think they think to the level of, so I can grow this black family and this black unity and make sure that money trickles into the black community. I don't think they look at it to that level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, Cobb, I want you to speak to this point. So, Ashley says, yes, we want the best version of you first. Some of us feel shafted, experiencing you as Sir Work in Progress. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's kind of interesting. So my background, I've been married now for 7 years to my wife. Prior to that, I was married for.
You got to say that every episode, boy. You got to get that. You got to get the wifey shout out. Go ahead.
You got to get the wifey shout out. She might actually be looking. Roberta from Pong, I love you very much. But
she just brought you dinner.
Yeah, she just brought me dinner there. So, but yeah, so I was married. I've been married for 7 years now, but I was married prior to this. I was married for about six months, and then the woman decided that she just told me, like, yeah, I didn't want to be married. So my wife was one of the first women I had started dating. Maybe second or third woman I had started dating after my divorce. And I remember her telling me that she was, and we kept our relationship very, very, like we had interest in each other, but like we were celibate. We weren't doing, like, there wasn't a whole lot of, what you call them going on. We were just kind of like, just really enjoying each other's company. And I remember at one point she told me, she was like, yeah, I'm just happy that you're able to feel loved again, just because of the way that I was broken. So it kind of speaks to what Ashley is talking about when she says, like this idea of being like a work in progress. Um, I mean, it was just interesting that when she shared that with me, I love deepened, and I was like, oh wow, like somebody could just love me to want me to feel loved again. Because I was, even while I was dating with her, I don't know how she picked it up, but maybe women's intuition or whatever, but she was insightful. She could kind of like decode like some of the things that I was saying and realize that, he just needs to be loved. You know what I mean? And she was committed to that, to just making me feel like I could be loved again.
That's
I
heavy.
mean, so there is an aspect of that is kind of like, like Zane was talking about, like disloyal, like betrayal almost. It's like, like I would feel terrible to know that she was entering or at some point in our relationship, she had kind of like taken on this task, this burden of this broken soul, this broken man doesn't feel like he can be loved. I want to show him that he could be loved, and then now I'm gonna go release him to somebody else. Like, no, like she's the one who kind of like put the work in. So it's not to say that this is the case, but it's almost like you feel obliged to kind of like give to her like commitment and so forth and so on. You know what I mean? I didn't feel that. I honestly, like when she told me that, it kind of like opened me up and opened our relationship up to kind of like a completely different level and made me love her more. And I think it was the best decision of my life. You know what I mean? We were able to have two amazing daughters. Our relationship, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's great. It's what I need for my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go ahead, Zane.
I wonder, and this, I might get killed for this, but I wonder if there's a cultural, let me pose it as a question. do you think that Black people are less interested in the politics of relationships and more interested in
Status.
um, the romance and fantasy of relationships? Because I think other cultures look at relationships as a way to build a future.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a stepping stone to another thing. So they enter those relationships with different, and I may be getting off the topic actually, but I'm really curious what y'all think about this. And
What?
and
No,
and
go ahead.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're not necessarily getting into relationships to further our life and
Mm.
to present ourselves in a certain way to a community, and that's but I feel like that other communities, whether it's the Jewish community or even the Muslim community, I'm saying people outside of certain communities, they really value marriage in a different way. It's
Yeah.
part of a social ladder
Or
climbing,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it's part of something different. And I feel
Yeah.
like the people that we're talking about, maybe that they don't see it that way. Like people who deal in interracial, they really are looking for that storybook romance.
Mm.
And when they find that, all those other things, you know, get erased. You know what I mean? But if when you look at those folks that really stick to their race, it's something in their cultural DNA that make them stay there, and it's not just love. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
It has
a different set,
a preservation aspect to it, a
a
preserving
preservation,
like
a political, a
yeah,
social
Yeah.
status level. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Mm.
I
I
mean,
think
that's what I was
go
trying to
ahead.
touch on with as far as being intentional with it. Like
Right.
they think about the relationship at a deeper level, like
Yeah.
something that you can build off of again. And honestly, this is I mean, marriage, you sign a contract, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It
Like
is.
this
It
is you're
is.
built, this is a business, you know,
It's
you get
like
tax breaks and benefits by being married. So it's no secret that being married is a benefit in America and in most cultures. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? Because again, you got the dual income and you're expected to contribute to society at a higher level because you're married. You know what I mean? It's two people now, right? You're expected to bring people into the world that are also going to contribute to our society. So it's a deep thing, right? So yeah, I don't think that I do. I mean, I was going to say no. I don't think Black people think of it that way, but I can't put that on all Black people because I'm a Black person. I think about it like that. And then also on a negative aspect, you might get guys that are chasing women that might have something going on and like they want to tag on to, you know, glom on to that. Like, oh, shorty getting money, let me get with her, or vice versa. So people do recognize certain things that they like and they want to propel their lives forward, I think. So
Yeah, yeah. I think when we talk about, this idea of, comparing, cultural love, I think it goes to the idea that I don't want to necessarily say we've been broken for longer, right? But we've endured one of the biggest atrocities or the biggest atrocity in world history, right? And its effects continue to impact us. And so going from not having nothing, right? Not having anything of our own, I think the only thing at times we had was the idea, right? And so the idea of whether it's the idea of freedom, the idea of love, right? We've invested everything in love because we had to endure. And so it didn't necessarily lend room to just be able to look at a relationship and say, all right, this is what it is, right? Because again, we're in a foreign place. So when we look at people, whether it's people in India, people in Europe, or even though Europe isn't more of that, they're looking about preserving the land that they have, their homeland and what have you. So here we are in foreign soil, just trying to figure out where we are, and we just want to feel that connected piece. I think Kyle could speak more to this maybe than than us as Black Americans being from Africa, and it could be different. I'm not sure when we talk about this idea of the purpose of marriage and what that looks like as far as the couple, as far as the community, as far as
Mm-hmm.
the society over there in, let's say, Ghana or somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. So my dad wanted me to be with a Ghanaian woman. for that very reason, right? Because the idea. So now even inside of the I guess we'll say the diaspora, he was very, very specific. Like, no, I want you to be with a Ghanaian woman. Because of the resources, you're basically, one of the probably the most disgusting but true comments that they made after like Kobe's death was they were talking about all of the wealth that Kobe now had amassed now goes to, I think she's Italian.
I think she's Spanish.
She's Spanish? Okay.
Yeah.
They were saying that, yeah, they were. I mean, it's disgusting when you think about it. Like, oh my gosh, that you would, this is the commentary that you choose to use. But it is true, right? I mean, Kobe did all these amazing things. I'm sure, life insurance, all the trust funds left and right, this, that, and the third. And now all of that wealth that he accumulated is now outside of
our
outside
culture.
of our culture,
I think that's a super important point, though.
But yeah,
and that's what I was getting at. I think too. I think a lot of coaches are super strategic about keeping dollars in their community.
Like I said, my dad was like
marriage is a part of that.
Yeah, my dad was like that. He really wanted me to be with a Ghanaian woman. For that very reason. It's like, okay, we bring our resources together, and we're growing our community. We're growing what's ours.
Right.
And
I'm sorry, I was going to ask a question if y'all mind. Like, do y'all think we should feel bad about feeling that way? Because I think other cultures, like we talked about, that's like a known thing. So we should own that, right? More as Black Americans. That idea.
Well, I think we
should understand the strategy of it. We should that should click. It's not just because we think we don't think you should be with white people. You had to see, okay, you can be with white people, but look what happens when you with another Black person, and look what happens to the community. It's a strategy for community uplift, is what it can be.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. I think it's more of like what Zane is talking about, like just knowing, right? I mean, you're still going to make whatever decision that you're going to make, but just make sure you have all the information. Like, oh, well, when you get with another Black woman, African American woman, or African American man, this is what you're actually doing.
Yeah. So I think
as well too.
So I'll read this comment from Ben. So he says, proximity. A lot of young Black men, women from a certain generation have grown up around a culture of broken family, then get older and explore other environments, but still acting on what they learn regardless of the race. Don't have the same examples as before with older generations. I think we give older generations too much credit. When it talks about this,
always talk.
No, I do, because
back off.
No, I think this
you wouldn't be here without older generation.
But it depends. It depends on what era we talk about.
Let me say this real quick. And so my mom, she gave a point that I completely disagree with. Love you, mother. But she says, I think
you gotta beat him when he.
I think I just got her 2 cases of water. I had to leave him on the steps. You know what I mean? So I risk life for that.
She didn't want you in her house.
No, she probably did if I would have said, "Let me come in." You know how older people are with this corona. But she said, I think arranged marriages really worked. It may be antiquated, but parents really do know what's best. Not necessarily. I don't necessarily know if they agree with that. I think they have an idea. However, that's not necessarily the case. But when I say I think we give the older generation too much credit, we have this idea that the Black family wasn't broken. Generations and generations for generations. The Black family has always been broken, right? In one form or fashion, right? Just because the father was present in the home doesn't necessarily mean that wasn't a broken family, right? And that those individuals weren't dealing with issues that are akin to those like us now, right? Who might not be in a 2-parent household or what have you. So I think when we talk about this idea of, I think other cultures have, it's about community, right? And I don't think we were truly afforded this opportunity to really respect and operate in this form of community because there were so many laws and so many things that were against us. You know, when we think about all the things that the mechanisms that were in place to divide the black, quote unquote, the black family, no matter what you think the family structure is, you know, it's not about just hetero cis families, just in general. You know, we think about everything that was in place, and it's no way that you can ever have community when you have Jim Crow, when there's a need for a civil rights movement, when there's a need for the Black Panthers, when there's a need for so many of these other things, right? When other cultures, yes, they might have their trials and tribulations, but it might not be at the level of that where at the at the forefront of it was still community. But its communities might be beefing amongst one another, but not against an entire system, an entire oppressive system that is going out of its way to diminish and demolish anything that you try to set forth. Right? When we look at the Black Power movement, as great as it was segregated by sex, right, or by gender, or however y'all want to call it now. It was black men who got it to the forefront. Who, and this is where the critique comes, where black men wanting to be like their
Black men were the
oppressors.
face.
Yeah.
Black men
Well,
were
yeah.
Black women definitely held that thing down.
Well, yeah, but it was not because I see you as an equal, but because you offer some type of benefit, or offer you're more hands and you're what have you. Not saying all, right?
Can I ask a
But
question?
some.
Can the word equal?
That's
I think we
problematic,
talked.
but go ahead.
What's
problematic?
No, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying just that. Go ahead.
No, my bad. I didn't want to
No.
skip over it just in case it got into a new convo. I didn't want to.
Yeah. No, you said a word that I wanna unpack. You said the word equal, and I struggle with that because I don't really understand the goal of what we're looking for there. So when we say like men and women, like equal, should they have been equal, men and women at that point, or what are we talking about when we talk about equality? We talking about obviously like we all should be able to vote, we all should make the same amount of money and all of that stuff. I get that, but I don't think that men and women are equal in every way. Like I don't know, maybe the women might kill me after this.
Yeah. I was about to say, go ahead.
Kill you right now.
Don't let the brother dig it. Don't let the brother dig it.
Real quick.
Okay, so
let me get this comment real quick in. I'm gonna get this comment in real quick from Fam Saj Boom. And challenging one's intentions when they choose to date outside. Why? And if the answer is genuine, then fine. But if you say because it's easier, then that's a problem. And so yeah, no, I completely agree. So you get the people like Kodak Black who are like, I don't date dark skinned women. I don't do, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, we see the problem. It's problematic. Yeah. With somebody like Jeezy, I don't know. I was just referencing the feelings that I had with regards to it. Maybe I've been listening to too much Umar Johnson just joking around, but it resonated when he was talking about Byron Allen. It's like, here you are, Byron Allen, you trying to do all this stuff for black folk, and you go home to this white woman, and you have these. I'm not gonna talk about the kids because they babies. You leave the kids out of it, but you go home to this white woman who doesn't understand your pain, who will never be able to understand it. The most she'll be able to do is just empathize with you, right? And so there is a certain amount of if I get pulled over in a car and I got my partner with me, she might have those same feels like in Queen and Slim, right? She had those same feels, that anxiety or what have you, that trauma, that understanding of what that specific trauma feels like, as opposed to a white woman or a Jeannie Mai or what have you. It's just where
I need to push back on a couple of things.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, Angelo, whatever your concept of, I think you need to broaden your concept of equality, right? Because human beings are equal, right? Human beings are equal. We're equal. We may come in with strengths, right? Strengths are different than equality, because you can lift something that's heavier than I can lift something. It doesn't mean that we're unequal. It means that that's a strength that you have, right? And if my strengths are different, if I have an intellectual strength that's different from your strength, or if you have an intellectual strength that is different from my strength, it still keeps us equal. It's just mean we have different sources of strength, right? So if you're gonna say that what I was trying to say, and I don't even know how this related to the conversation, but when Phil was talking about people in the movement being led by men, the men were the face of the movement. You can lead from behind. You know what I mean? And anybody who has a
Not
mother,
necessarily. I disagree with
you
that. Go ahead.
can lead from behind. You can lead from behind. A lot of the planning and a lot of a lot of the
Servant
stuff
leader.
were
Servant
done
leader
by
is an
women.
actual thing.
Yeah.
Servant
No,
leadership is a
fact.
thing.
No, facts.
It's a
Facts.
It's a
fact.
thing. Yes.
No, facts. But
So
I was
it's
referencing how you're perceived, right? That all the those who identified as
Excuse me
male
for
within
1
the
minute, gentlemen. I'll be right back.
go ahead, do your thing. All those black men within the Black Power movement, did they view the women as equal, or and they're
well,
just
that's
doing
different.
something different? That's what I'm referencing. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
that. No, they're when we look at them, we talk about for sure they're leaders, those who are in the background making shit happen. But I'm just talking
Right.
about
So
the
to my
disconnect between the two that still exists, even though
Right.
both were working quote unquote together.
so to my understanding, Zane, what you're saying is, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. I guess it's just the nuance of the words, right? Because again, like, yeah, my strength might be one thing where my woman's strength or the woman's strength in the movement might be a little bit different. They might be better with strategical planning, where I'm better with, getting intel. I don't know, whatever it may be, right? But I just don't think. I mean, I'll more or less talk about that runs along the lines of we all have different roles to play, and I don't necessarily say that. I'm not saying that doesn't. You can't apply the word equal there. I guess you can apply the word equal there, right? Because again, my job is different from my wife's job, and even if it was we had a group of 10 of us, and we were building a community in the woods or something like that, I would expect you, me, and Phil to do different things that I would ask of the women, and that's just how and that's just point blank period. If somebody's trying to infiltrate our situation, I'm going to step up. I don't listen. I want them to do something else. I'm gonna take care of that. Now that's just how I'm built. I don't be there.
And unfortunately, we it's very difficult for us to separate gender from all of the things that we do in the world, right? Because we're so trapped in gender norms or gender roles. But a lot of people,
absolutely.
Well, several of my friends who would jump into this conversation and really try to break that apart, because what women do a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
And again, a woman can have a strength that is the same strength as a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You can't we do, and I know that it takes work. It takes work to really break down gender and to separate ourselves from gender norms,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from, but I know you're willing to hear things
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
than those
absolutely.
regular things.
Yeah.
And I'm growing too. Even
Yeah.
as a gay man, I'm still stuck in certain gender norms, and I have to constantly have conversation with people who are much more advanced in their thoughts about what are gender norms and where do we fit in society and what do all those things mean.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so pushing my little bit of thing that I've come to understand is we're trapped in a way in those things because we can't think outside of it. But once you start to think outside of just what our body is, you know what I mean? What this thing is, then
physical, right?
That's how I learned to accept it. You know what I mean? That
it's not
when I bring it up.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm out at that.
No, go ahead.
But it's not necessarily like they're less than in my mind. And I don't think am I coming off as like
But when you say they're not equal, that statement is problematic in itself.
Yeah, so
because
scratch that from
if
I don't want to say that statement. Right. Yeah, scratch that. Let me try to paraphrase that. Right.
Shoot him some bail. Shoot him some bail.
No, it's fine. This is what we do here, right? We talk about
facts, no doubt.
I'm not the smartest man on the planet. I'm fine with that. But what I'm saying is, we all have different abilities and strengths, whether it be 5 men, us 4 have different strengths and abilities, right? Now, if there were women on here, they would have different strengths and abilities. I understand that. I'm just saying, I guess as far as from a roles perspective, I feel like I have a certain responsibility And I feel like, you know, my wife has a certain responsibility. Not saying they don't, not again, this might hurt and be painful. Y'all want to jump down my throat about it. But you know, they do cross, right? I'm not saying woman get in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen with it. I'm with the kids too. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they do blend. But again, at the end of the day, I feel like there are certain things that I want to shoulder and I want to be responsible for. And I'm fine with that. I don't know if that's a
So
bad thing,
no,
but
no,
that's
no.
how it
So
is.
I think in a part of it again, it's about how we, you know, how we're nurtured, right? How we're
Yeah.
nurtured in the grand scheme of society. I guess where I would take issue at any point is if, and I can't speak to this, if your wife was like, "Yo, I want to do this, I want to go and do that," and you like, "Nah, this, no, you can't do that. Nah, that's
She
my
the
job."
boss.
You
She's
know,
the boss.
no,
like,
no, but I'm saying like so, and I think you know if we have expectations like my partner
yeah.
Mike, you know, I don't cook, she cooks, right? I don't look at it as
Uh-huh.
that being what she got to do. I just look at it as it's just something that she does for me. A part of me, right? So you know, I'm a full time entrepreneur now. She, you
Right.
know, shout out to her, Zah upstairs. You know, she paid a mortgage for me, right? Like initially that hurt. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that hurt
Right.
because I feel it, from what everything society has told me as a man and what the community has told me as a black man, there's no way she's supposed to be paying the mortgage
Mm.
while I'm out here trying to figure life out. If anything is, it's supposed to be the reverse of this, right? Which, and I talked about this the first group that I had. I'm not sure who was there when I talked
Yeah.
about. You know what I mean? This was the first hashtag you good man back September 2018
I
where
wasn't there, but we did talk about this before.
yeah, yeah, where it was like,
Yeah.
you know, I had a speaking engagement somewhere and, you know, I asked her to find the hotel and she found the hotel and
Yeah, I
booked it
remember this
for me.
story too.
And I'm like, I asked, like, what the hell are you booking it for me for? Right? It's like, that's not your job, right? That's not your responsibility. And so a lot of things go into that. It goes into how I've been conditioned, and she just gonna sign back on. It goes to how I was and it goes to how I was nurtured, right? Because my mom did a whole lot for me. I can ask her for $10 right now,
Right.
and she'll do it. And so ingrained in me, it was like I can't have anybody do anything for me, right? Because that's not
Right.
how it's supposed to be. And then part of it was not knowing how to accept, right? That was a part of it. Me not being able, knowing how to accept, like, no, you're not supposed to, I'm supposed to do for myself at all times. And so when I hear you say that, I don't necessarily even know if it is how it might be sound coming across. You know what I mean? I don't even know if it is how it might be coming across where it's like, yo, I do this, you do this. And so for those of us who are in this mode where we challenge everything, we're conditioned, we push back on gender norms and gender roles. We're like, oh, what you mean y'all got different roles? It's just like, no,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to have that. But then in reality, it's just like, well, it's a relationship. Some person, one
Yeah.
does this, one does that. And so I think that's might be what it is, as opposed to, because nothing you're saying has me like she's uh inadequate, she's subpar, she's not allowed to do anything. I only want her to do X, Y, and Z. Right? It's just like we
Yeah.
carved out the niche for our relationship that works for us,
Yeah.
which is what we're
We
supposed to
we
do.
play to our strengths in this house and you know in this relationship. You know what I mean? We recognize what we're better at and we stay in those boxes. Now that doesn't mean again she's a much far better cook than me. I keep going back to the cooking thing, but that's just a easy example, right? She's a far better cook than me, so she'll teach me how, or she'll you know I'll jump in there. I'm not as great, but you know I do it as well. So it's like, but that's one of her strengths, and she likes to do that. So you know things that I like to do, she lets me lead there. But again, like you said, Zane, you can lead from. And what do they say that the woman is the neck or something. She turns that whatever that little cliche is. I'm gonna tear it up. But at the end of the day, yeah, my wife is very strong, and you know she has a lot of opinions, and I listen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even when we go against each other on that stuff, but you know, the next day I'm normally like, damn, like she was on something on that joint. I gotta backtrack and say, you know what, you was right. You know what I'm saying? Because I could be headstrong, but yeah, it's not about me allowing her to do anything. It's more or less about me accepting my role and running the play the way that we need to be successful.
Yeah. And so, and my mom says, and I think pretty much sums it up. She said it's like negotiating what's best for the relationship, what helps you both moving forward. because that's the end goal. You know, we both want to move forward in some capacity together, and I don't ever want to find myself in a position. No, I just said I found the Dunkin' Donuts. I guess I ain't drink. I never want to. I'm thirsty. You never want to have yourself in a position. Yeah, you never want to have yourself in a position where one is moving forward and the other one doesn't feel that they are, or they're being hindered in some way. Go ahead.
And you know, earlier you disparaged the older generation, and you disagree with your mom.
I didn't. I just want to say. Time out. First off, you're not going.
I just want to say. Don't you mute me. I just want to say that I watched my grandmother and my grandfather negotiate a relationship that lasted their whole marriage, and it was untraditional. And they stayed together, and I think they understood the thing that we talked about earlier in terms of the economics of being in a relationship, right? And the community empowerment of being in a relationship, and even the family, the part of the family that is empowered by that, right? Because they were this thing that held the whole rest of the family together. Like the house that we live in now is blessings to my grandmother and my grandfather, right? And what my grandfather used to say with this weird hand was a marriage is 50-50. And I'm revealing something now, and y'all excuse don't nothing happen. But they slept in different rooms at a certain point. You know what I mean? They almost separated but stayed together as a team. You know what I mean? And I without telling too much family business, I think they really separated. You know what I mean? But they stayed together. Yeah. You know, and I watched that and I thought it was beautiful. You know what I mean? And I wonder how that I mean, you learn from what you see, but it didn't fall on all of the kids. You know, it fell on a couple of them, but some people had successful relationships and understood what they saw, and some people didn't. So I don't know how other cultures really do it, but I have seen examples of how it worked. You know what I mean? Even not that you should stay together no matter what, but you negotiate staying together, and it may not end up being in a traditional way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yo, we done. That's around an hour and 15 minutes. See, this is how the conversations typically go, man. Yeah,
this was good.
Yeah. I feel like it's so much left to unpack, but I want to be respectful of your time and be respectful of the people's time, man. So we're gonna sum it up there. Phil is right in this situation. No, it's when we talk about relationships, I think it's ultimately what we make of it, but it is something to take notice of, as you said, how other cultures continue, despite how individualistic we continue to become, how they continue to maintain. And just from an economic perspective, or a political perspective, as we discussed, we're not talking about from a socio-emotional perspective, where we recognize that there's a lot of problems that exist within these structures that don't get talked about. We talk about high rates of vice usage and molestation and various ills that exist within these systems, because that's what they are. They're systems. So listen, man, I appreciate y'all. I feel like it's stopping abruptly, man. Like
it's a lot. It's
we
a lot to talk
was
about.
rolling. So real quick, we're gonna go around and talk about, see how many more people I can get into this frame, man. We might have like 6 people next week. So if we just go around and just identify something that we want to work on for next week.
Okay.
I'll
go.
I'm gonna work on these bars. You know what I mean?
Listen, all right, let me go real quick. Let me go.
And so if you want to check out the bars, man, check out Green District Media or Instagram or Cobb and Frimpong or Facebook and
You know what I mean?
and Instagram, man. What about
Park,
you?
Society Park.
Oh, Society
Park in the house.
See, Zane, remember? Zay, remember the
I
day?
gotta do my research. I can hear these bars.
Yeah,
I'ma
go
send them
check
to
out
you.
his Instagram, man.
I'ma
I
I'ma
am.
send
I'm
them to
on
you.
it as soon as we get off this
I'ma
call.
send it.
C Moss,
No, I'm
B
shooting for that.
Loss.
I'm shooting for that 10-mile run this
Oh
week.
wow.
Honestly, I feel like it's right
You
there.
gonna
It's
go
only
from
4.
6 to 10? No,
I
me go
think
6,
so.
8. Yeah, I mean.
No, I think because to be honest with you, when I get out there, man, like I really probably could have went further than 6. To be honest with you, like I really just don't like to stop. You know what I'm saying? I feel like once I get locked in, I just go like ready to collapse, but I'll just keep going. So I really think I can reach it, but I'm gonna definitely go past 6 this week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna steal a thing from Phil's playbook. This is my
Calendar.
day book. It's
Okay.
empty. Last month it was programmed in. So that, and then the same thing I did last week, but I'm gonna try to program my week a little bit better. My month.
Word. And so,
Work
go ahead.
house. That's
Go
all it
ahead.
is.
I didn't know you. I thought your bars was your
No,
joint.
that wasn't it. I was just playing around. So I just need to do some kind of like administrative stuff, like bookkeeping stuff, as it relates to Green District Media. That's something, especially with the tax. I know they pushed it back to what, like July or June or something like that.
July 15th, I believe.
July 15th. Yeah. So I'm terrible waiting to the last possible minute. So I need to address and do like some of that bookkeeping, tend to the books as it relates to my business. So I need to knock that out.
So I finished another book. Like I keep buying books and they just all sitting there. So finish another book, Full Dissident by Howard Bryant. So I'm gonna read that by next Monday. Also I got a few things that I keep talking about, but I ain't put it out yet. And it's really simple, just putting the flyers together and what have you. So one of them has to do with um uh a virtual Father's Day run, right? I think who knows if we still gonna be quarantined. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of people like Angelo. I know Cobb, you run. I don't know if you run Zane. But just besides your mouth. No, so
taking shots.
So because I think
he locked in tonight, man.
Yeah.
And I just had some of that Dunkachino, man. No, so because I know Father's Day is June 21st, and it's a lot of brothers sitting around. We got like what, April, May, probably about 9 to 10 weeks or so till that. And so just like a virtual 10K, like a 6-mile run, give brothers something to shoot for, give them an opportunity to get out the crib, to you know what I mean, just run and just be at one with the earth, with and hope they don't get COVID in the process. But just again, but that's something that I want to do, just to connect brothers virtually, because a lot of us are. I know a lot of brothers that are running right now, more than they've ever ran before, and so it's just like want to have something to show for it. So it looks like T-shirts that look like a sign up. So make something official, like a virtual run, no matter where you are. Or Father's Day, we wake up whether you're a father or not, just for men, because June is Men's Health Month too. So it's just a great way to help us in this journey when we talk about our health. Like, and I didn't even get into the statistics and what have you about Black folk and COVID and how we're dying at humongous clips, right? In Milwaukee, we make up 80% of the death tolls. When we talk about Chicago, 70% of the death tolls from COVID. And states just about those being infected is between like 40 and 60%. So it's rough out here. And so we need to do what we can to take care of our physical health. The other thing is definitely want to get the virtual book club, because we ain't got nothing but time. And it's been a minute since we did that, so I want to do that, and then try to have a you good man, since I got this outlet with the Zoom, no 40-minute limit or nothing, so we could get those attendees of the group who might tune into this, where we can still come together and convene like we used to do at Uncle Bobby's or at Kinesik's dance studio. So that's the goal. Is I want to have all that done by next week. Also want to just love up on my partner right now, who her spirits ain't the best. So that's one of my goals, to make sure I tell her how much I care about her every day. So yeah, man, that's it. Shout out to Dr. Umar. I wish I had that thing to play for y'all. Hit the Cash App up, Spotify LLC. Until tomorrow, peace.
Peace. Thank you.